Our text today comes from the Gospel of Matthew, right in the beginning, chapter 1, verses 1 through 17. And there's a good chance if you've ever tried to read this part of Matthew, you have skipped right over it. It's a list of names, a family tree, and family trees don't usually make for great reading. But do this if you can today. Look a little closer at this text. When we do, we might see that this family tree doesn't look quite right. There are branches sticking out all over the place. It's men that are usually remembered in the litany of family trees, but right here, right towards the beginning, we find Tamar. And Tamar, she's a woman who is remembered as pretending to be a prostitute and has Judah's children. She is smart and scrappy, and she does what she must do in order to live. History hasn't remembered her well. And here she is in Jesus' family tree, and we wouldn't have Christmas without her. And then we see Rahab. Rahab was that woman in Jericho who helped to hide the Israelite spies. She was a Canaanite, an enemy of God's people. And here she is. We wouldn't have Christmas without her. Ruth comes next, and Ruth we might remember, the daughter-in-law of Naomi. Both women faced great loss, and Ruth pledges herself to Naomi, saying those lines, "Where you go, I will go." Ruth leaves her home, her people, and history remembers Ruth a little more kindly, but she is still a foreigner, not part of the family. And yet here she is, and we wouldn't have Christmas without her. And last but definitely not least, we have the unnamed wife of Uriah, also known as Bathsheba. And Bathsheba, her life was upended when King David decided that she would be his and sent her husband into battle to die. Her place in history continues to be conflicted as we blame her for David's lack of self-control. It's David's sin with Bathsheba that ultimately turns God away from the great king. And yet here she is in Jesus' family tree. We wouldn't have Christmas without her. This misshapen family tree has much to tell us. It seems our author wasn't just telling us who Jesus was based on genealogy, but also sneaking in a little about who Jesus would be for. No one is outside this family tree. The Christ born of Mary, of Tamar, of Rahab, of Ruth, and of Bathsheba. This is a Savior who has come for the sake of us all. Thanks be to God.